So if you power up your PlayStation, Xbox, PC, whatever you play Modern Warfare 3 on, you'll probably see or have already seen that Modern Warfare 3 had a new title update, Update 1.39, something that's a genuine download and not just a playlist update. So what changed to warrant that new title update? Today we're breaking down the changes and what you need to know out of Modern Warfare 3's newest update. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below, drop a like if you enjoy, and do me a favor and hit that subscribe button if you'd like to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and anything FPS related. We got you covered. Finally, make sure to check out my friends over at G Fuel for up to 30% off your entire order. But for now, let's dive into the new update of Update 1.39 and Modern Warfare 3 and everything that had changed. Let's start out with the bigger items here for this update: weapon tuning. We saw a handful of weapons get adjusted, but the most substantial came in the way of an SMG and an LMG, the Striker 9 and the TAC Evolve-3. The Striker 9 had lots of changes to the weapon, but let's list them in pros and cons, because in the patch notes, they're kind of back and forth, but the buffs, we saw an increase to the enemy nameplate reveal distance, increasing by 15%. They decreased the hipfire spread, decreased the recoil gun kick, increased the bullet velocity, increased the maximum damage, increased that near to medium damage, and increased the maximum damage range. Now on the nerf side of things, where they made it a little worse, they increased the horizontal recoil, they increased the vertical recoil, they decreased the minimum damage, they decreased the mid damage range, and decreased the near to medium damage range. Also, there's a sort of neutral element here where they added the ability to aim down sight while sliding, which I never really thought of and is kind of strange that it wasn't there, but it's now there overall. But in terms of like an overall consensus of this update for the Striker 9, it's almost reconstructed the entire recoil pattern, which should in theory make it easier to control when firing. It made that hipfire spread tighter, also allowing for further visibility with that nameplate adjustment, and also offered up some base adjustments that can be a bit of a help with that bullet velocity and damage adjustments. But on paper, it seems like this was a slight improvement to the weapon, but I don't think this will make this like the overall #1 SMG at this point, but it does make a viable case in terms of using it. So it definitely did get a viable buff here in regards to the overall weapon. Now, the TAC Evolve-3, we again saw buffs and nerfs to this one in kind of large quantities. But the buffs, it increased the movement speed, increased the maximum damage, increased the maximum damage range, increased the medium damage range, and increased the head damage multiplier, along with the neck, upper torso, upper arm, and lower armage damage multipliers. Now, based on all of that, you consider that this is a massive buff, right? Well, there's still one factor that does kind of alter how good of an update to this weapon this is, because in the nerf department, it decreased the rate of fire from 706 RPM to 500 RPM, a 29% decrease, and increasing that target flinch by 60%. So the weapon itself, it expends nearly 30% less rounds per minute, and that is a significant nerf. Now it's weird because this got significant buffs, but significant nerfs. It's really good now for mid-range, but it makes the builds for that a little awkward. So in terms of practicality, some people may love it, some people may not enjoy it, but it is absolutely an adjustment to the weapon that is absolutely noteworthy. But the 7.62 wasn't the only thing that was adjusted with the TAC Evolve-3. Conversely, they buffed a lot of the 5.56 conversions for the ammunition belts. They got adjusted to the point where in the buffs category, you had an increase to the movement speed, added 40% hip fire reduction, increased the aim down sight time, increased the aim down sight movement, added a rate of fire benefit of 857 RPM, and increased the head, neck, and upper torso damage multipliers, while nerfing slightly the maximum damage and the medium damage. Now, they describe the logic behind this as their primary goal for these changes is to better differentiate between the two ammo types of the TAC Evolve-3. 7.62 is a slow yet accurate long-range competitor, while conversely the 5.56 favors aggression and it's built for more run-and-gun playstyles. So the 7.62 rewards accuracy, sees that increase in the target flinch, allowing it to, what they said, compete with sniper rifles at range, while the 5.56 sports a significantly faster rate of fire and is both easier to handle and consistent with location damage multipliers. So in that sense, I understand what they were going for, but again, in regards to practical use for this, mid-range, it's going to be something that's a monster, but it might just feel a little awkward with some of the builds. So haven't had time to personally jump in and test it out, see just how great or just maybe not how great it is, but right now at least, just know that it's at least worth investigating into with some of your builds. Now, we also saw additional weapon tuning in the Jack Tyrant 7.62 kit for the longbow, where that decreased the aim down sight time, increased the aim down sight movement, and added 30% hip fire reduction. So buffs to that as well. And the WSP Stinger saw buffs and nerfs. The handgun were the buffs, it decreased the horizontal recoil, increased the maximum damage, increased the near to medium damage, increased the medium damage, and increased the minimum damage, while nerfing the recoil gun kick and vertical recoil. The no stock attachment overall also had a removed hipfire crosshair sway from what was on offer. all weapons utilizing the no stock attachment will now see that applied to their in-game benefits. But that's the weapon tuning. Some interesting choices here with this, some stuff that is again smaller in scale, but also still some that have larger implications. Beyond weapon tuning though, there were a handful of adjustments and fixes that went out that make for some interesting notes. First one, well, is one that to my knowledge has never been done before in the entire franchise history. The loadout drop field upgrade, it's been permanently removed from multiplayer. Sledgehammer explained that it was due to a limited use and often being utilized to reach exploitable locations, that it's no longer available in multiplayer. And it's not just a temporary thing. Again, this is permanently removed from multiplayer. Now, I think that I used the loadout crate maybe once all the way back in Modern Warfare 2019. I honestly can't even remember if that was private matches or regular matches. And honestly, I don't think that I even realized that it was in Modern Warfare 3 just because I kind of set my field upgrades and I just go with it as soon as the game launches. I only use the ammo box. So sure, on my end, that's a bit of a subjective and like that's on you type of thing. But like, crazy to think that something was so low on numbers that not only one, because it was exploitable, was it removed, but number two, that it was permanently removed because nobody would miss it. So kind of funny, kind of very interesting that we've never seen this happen before, and it's happening with this loadout drop field upgrade. But anyways, yeah, completely removed. If you guys did like it, if you had it on your classes, it will be replaced by that ammunitions box by default. So that's just something to be aware of. The assassin vest also had an issue resolved where again, it was not having the lethal equipment that just wasn't equipped as of the season 2 update. That's now been fixed. It should now properly equip. XP bonuses have been changed and increased for the first challenge week 1 reward of granting 1000 XP to 2500. Now instead, they didn't mention if this was something that was going to be retroactively earned, like if you already completed it, if it will be something that gives you 1500 XP on top of that. But in addition to that, the bonus XP per match during an event, if you use that featured operator skin that comes along with whatever event it is, that increased bonus is now 2500 instead of just a 1000 bonus. So a little bit more per match, but again, that starts to compound and add up over time when you continue playing, so maybe noticeable. Challenge adjustments, we saw removal in the aim down sight component to the Ram 7 forged camo challenge. That previously required you to get ADS while sliding kills 10 times. Now it's just 10 operator kills with sliding. Definitely way more manageable. And then bug fixes, we saw animations of akimbo weapons now properly displaying during infill sequences that players would have to go through an elevator to get into the map. So that was just some bug stuff there. And there's some more minor, smaller details, but that's kind of your overall general gist of this update, the surprise update at hand. Not even 1 week into season 2, but fixing and adjusting some things even further. So that is where we're going to wrap it up. But before we do, I want to take a second to remind you that code Espresso can get you up to 30% off your entire order over at G Fuel. To me, G Fuel's my cup of coffee in the morning, gets my day and productivity going, and I'm sure there's a flavor out there for you if you want to try some. I'd personally recommend Pog Juice, Starfruit, Strawberry Banana, the Morbius Nectarine flavor, and more. But whether you guys want to try it out for the first time, grab a starter kit with a couple of sample packs and a shaker cup of your own, or grab a restock of a tub, maybe upwards of a few tubs, code Espresso can net you a nice little discount, upwards of 30% off. So check the link in the description below if you guys are at all interested. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you guys like the sound of these changes with this update? Not so much. Whatever the case, let me know down below. And if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, X-Defiant, and even more FPS content. We got you covered here on the channel. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name's been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.